Get your tinfoil hats out, folks, because the CIA claims they found the Ark of the Covenant using psychic powers in an experiment back in 1988. The declassified document is from the year 2000, although it's just gone viral this week. And in it, the document claims that through a, quote, coordinated remote viewing session that took place in December 1988, CIA operatives were able to tap into the powers of a psychic to locate the sacred chest. More on that in a second, but if you're not familiar with the Ark of the Covenant, it's the box that stored the Ten Commandment tablets. It's a tremendously valuable religious relic, super important to the Jewish religion, and other than some theories that it's in the Middle East or a church in Ethiopia, we don't know where the Ark of the Covenant is. According to the Bible, and at least Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, the chest contains enormous and unexplainable powers. The thought is that the Ark itself emits this energy and that anyone unworthy who touches it or opens it will be struck down by these paranormal powers. Now, if you believe in Indiana Jones, all you gotta do is close your eyes. And then if the Ark is opened, you're all Gucci. The angels come out and kill everybody, but not you. And furthermore, if you believe Indiana Jones, they took the Ark and they put it into a gigantic warehouse with all these other relics of evidence that's just lost forever. But according to this experiment in 1988, a psychic was able to locate the general area that the Ark currently resides. Now, I come to you as a man that wears tinfoil hats and believes in just about any conspiracy theory, and even I think this is stupid. So in 88, the CIA tried to carry out a remote viewing session. According to the CIA, remote viewing is a psychic technique in which a viewer transcends time and space to see or perceive people, places, or objects without the viewer being present. So retired U.S. Army Chief Warrant Joe McMoneagle said that the New York Post told the New York Post that a remote viewer is asked to search for a target. The object in question is written down onto a piece of paper and put into an envelope. The remote viewer does not know what is written down and is guided through the process by another person. The CIA document said that they, quote, attained excellent sight contact and was able to keep analytic overlay to a minimum. Analytic overlay is the subjective interpretation of the remote viewer's visions. What the fuck are we talking about here? So the person said, the container has another container inside of it. The target is fashioned of wood, gold, and silver. The target is located somewhere in the Middle East. Individuals in the area are clothed in all white, had black hair, and dark eyes. The target is hidden, underground, dark, and wet. The remote viewer said that the container is protected by entities and that can only be opened by the people who are authorized to do so. This container cannot be opened until the time is deemed correct. The summary continues. So essentially, some 1980s version of Oz the Mentalist, described the Ark of the Covenant because someone wrote it down and put it in an envelope. And rather than think of the 500 million plausible explanations as to someone perhaps gaining the info of what's in that envelope, we're going to just choose to believe that psychic powers allowed them to locate this relic. And by locate, I mean narrow it down to the one region of the world that literally everyone would guess it's in. Whether they're psychic or not, you would say the Middle East. So basically, anybody who's ever seen Indiana Jones in the 80s and maybe got tipped off to what was inside that envelope could have conducted this experiment. Just an all-time ridiculous conspiracy theory and viral headline that I cannot in good conscience support. I am taking the tinfoil hat off on this one. Get your popcorn out, folks, because it's about to get real interesting with Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Now, a couple days ago, LeBron James goes on the Pat McAfee show. He brings up he and Stephen A. Smith's beef over his son, Bronny James. Then Stephen A. Smith replies on his show that if LeBron had put hands on him during that confrontation, that Stephen A. would have swung on him. Then after that, LeBron hits the game winner later that night. So they're going back and forth, right? And then the next day on First Take, Stephen A. Smith says, there's a lot of things about you that I never said that I could. I never said that, hey, why weren't you at Kobe Bryant's memorial? I never said, hey, how come you weren't at Dwayne Wade's retirement? There's a lot of things I could say about you that I didn't. Now, on the one hand, this is all a gold mine for Stephen A. Smith. This is a content creator's dream come true. You're publicly trading blows with the biggest athlete on earth. It's incredible for business. On the other hand, Stephen A. Smith completely botched this first shot that he fired because it turns out LeBron was at Kobe's memorial, and the only reason why people thought he wasn't was because he specifically requested to not be filmed or photographed because he wanted it to be about Kobe and not about him. Yikes. That is a mistake you cannot make if you're going to get in a tit-for-tat war of words to slander each other's reputations. That is a huge swing and a miss by Stephen A. Smith. Now, all that being said, I still think LeBron needs to tread lightly because this feels like the sports version of Kendrick versus Drake where it can get out of control real quick. Two guys at the top of their games who have had beef for a long time and it's finally coming to a head. And the first couple rounds of these two feels like the early stages of a rap beef where like you're dipping your toe in the water, you're starting to send some personal shots. It's like, don't tell no lies about me and I won't tell no truths about you. And this is where LeBron's got to be careful because A, we're in Stephen A's arena. He wins no matter what, good, bad, or otherwise. He gets all the attention. And B, a lot of people know a lot of things about LeBron James. Drake was already alluding to it. It's one of the worst kept secrets out there. I'm not talking about Diddy, by the way. All the relationship stuff. So you pissed off Drake. You pissed off Stephen A. Smith. You called your biggest stan, Brian Windhorst, a weirdo. Stephen A. is about to assemble these guys like the fucking Avengers. The all-time great LeBron haters. You get Stephen A. Smith, Windy, Drake, Dave Portnoy. Get Bayless, Lance Stevenson. Get Delonte West and his mom. Mad Dog Russo, who hates all, the modern day players. Get Charles Barkley in the mix. He hates LeBron. If all these guys decided to come together and let it rip, it's not going to be good for the king. He's coming to the end of his career. These guys, they don't have to, cover him anymore. They don't have to bend the knee because he's not going to be in the league that much longer. Although knowing LeBron, it could be 5 to 10 years. But knowing that he's on the back end, they don't have to cater to him anymore the way they once did if he's on his way out. So you start throwing personal shots at the biggest guys in media. You piss off the biggest act in music. You spit in the face of your biggest fan, Windhorse. All of a sudden, these guys are like, you know what? We're going to fucking start telling the truth about you. We know where all the bodies are buried. We know all the truths, all the things you've been hiding. Your perfect image, poof, gone. And they've been protecting that because of journalistic integrity or it hasn't been beneficial for their career. Well, if that all changes because you start throwing shots, you could get to some serious mudslinging. And it would take a lot because that would ruin reputations on all sides. But this is kind of how it starts. Drake and Kendrick starts as professional banter. And next thing you know, talking about wives and relationships, and you call people pedophiles. There's all sorts of dirt flying. So maybe it's the other way around. Maybe LeBron is like, I don't even fuck about you guys anymore because I'm coming to an end. So fuck it, I'm going to say what I want about you. And he's not going to tiptoe around him. Either way, we win. Popcorn for us, the viewers at home. More drama continues to unfold from the Snow White fiasco. This time, the son of the producer, Mark Platt, his name is Jonah Platt, speaks out against Rachel Zegler's comments, which he believed torpedoes the film's success at the box office. Now, if you're not familiar with this whole situation, Rachel Zegler plays Snow White in the new live-action remake. This movie was doomed from the start for two reasons. Number one, Rachel Zegler completely trashed the idea of Snow White in the first place. She said that Snow White is a creepy story about a male stalker and that they were going to throw the original idea out the window and recreate the whole thing. She called it weird and creepy, and a lot of fans of the original Snow White did not appreciate that. She turned it into this anti-feminist story. She said that the love story was stupid and antiquated, and a lot of the original fans were like, the fuck? We love Snow White. Why do you have to turn it into this men versus women thing when it's just a classic story of the original Disney princess and Prince Charming? So that already rubbed people the wrong way. Then things got political. First, she put out comments on Instagram saying that she hopes that Donald Trump and all of his supporters never find peace. And then she put out a Free Palestine quote. So between the original comments about Snow White and then her politics, people did not like Snow White from the jump. Now, it seems like the rest of the movie is terrible in the first place. The acting's not good. The reimagined storyline people do not like. The budget was almost $300 million. They used CGI dwarves instead of regular little people. There's a lot wrong with this movie. However, it feels like it was completely doomed the minute that she inserted her politics into this movie. And so, Jonah Platt got into a back and forth with a fan on Instagram after the story came out that his father, the producer, flew across the country to meet with Rachel Zegler and basically told her, will you please shut the fuck up and stop putting comments out there in the middle of promoting this movie, in the middle of the run-up to the release, so that we don't completely torpedo this? And people said that was anti-free speech and that this old man should not be telling this young girl what she can and can't say. So his son stepped up on Instagram and got into a back and forth in the comments section where she said, the fan said, shame on your father. And Jonah Platt said, are we really going to do this? My father is the producer of a Disney IP worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He had to fly across the country and tell a 20-year-old employee of his to shut their mouth because they're narcissistic and immature comments, and bringing politics into this is torpedoing this movie, and it is ruining it for everyone involved, down to the blue-collar workers. Now, I will say, Jonah Platt kind of comes across here as the entitled, smug, spoiled kid, kind of being like, my dad's smarter than your dad. My dad can beat your dad up. My dad is the big Hollywood producer. That being said, I kind of agree with everything he says here. I don't think anyone's anti-free speech. I don't think he's telling this girl what she can and can't say or what her politics should or should not be. He is just saying, while you're in the middle of promoting a movie that you've been paid millions of dollars to act and promote in, don't say shit that is going to completely tank the chances of it being a success. Because all the way from the top actors down to the grips and the cameramen and the union workers, it fucks everybody over if this $400 million movie can only make $40 million in the opening weekend. Not being anti-free speech, it's just saying that your actions have consequences and that your words have power. And leading up to the release of this film, don't say anything that's going to ruin the chances of it being a success, because it's not just your life and reputation that's on the line, it's the careers, reputations, and lives of everyone else that you now hold in your hands that you're deciding to disrespect because you simply have to speak your mind. You sound like an asshole. Say it after the movie. Say it when we no longer are under contract. Say it all then, but don't fuck with everybody else's lives because you need to get your opinions off on social media. The internet is simply appalled with Ryan Reynolds right now after he did a commentary track over the Deadpool and Wolverine director's cut where he admits that Kidpool was his 7-year-old daughter Inez and that he had her say the line, quote, "When I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverine's dick out of your mouth." There's also this picture making the rounds that's supposedly the original script, where the joke first was, "I'll take my dick out of your mouth when I want your opinion." Now listen, that's a funny line. That's a great scene, no doubt about it. Personally, is it something I would have done? No, I wouldn't have done it. I have a daughter the same age. I would not have had her deliver that line, especially if she's going to be in a mask and no one even knows. Then it's just like pointless and unnecessary. And especially if she was not cool with it. If she said, "I don't want to be a part of this," I just would not do it. If your kid's laughing about it and she's unaware what it means, that's one thing. But for her to be against it and you still make her do it, me personally, that's just not how I would do things. I'm not offended. I don't care that he did it. But if you're asking my opinion, would you have your daughter deliver the line, "Take my dick out of your mouth"? I would not have done it. I just don't think you need your daughter talking about dicks or mouths, period. But people parent their kids differently. You know, there's always kids who, like, they watch weird movies and they're allowed to curse and they eat whatever they want. They stay up late when they're like 5 years old. I don't know. People just different strokes, you know? The problem is when you become a fucking asshole in the public eye, you don't get away with these things anymore. You know, take, for example, the South Park guys. Trey Stone had his baby girl saying, "Suck my balls, you fat bitch." And everybody just laughed. No issue with it because people really like those guys. And if this was Ryan Reynolds from like a year or two ago, when people still liked him, he would have got away with it too. They would be like, "Oh, he's so funny, he's so quirky, he's so edgy." He posts pictures of Blake Lively where you can't even see her. Happy birthday, but you don't even see her in the picture. He lets his daughter curse. So funny. But after your shtick wears thin and then you embroil yourself in a controversy where you lie on someone's name and try to ruin their lives with fake sexual harassment charges because you and your wife are bullies, people stop liking you. And when they stop liking you, they start to scrutinize everything you do. And so when you make your 7-year-old talk about dicks and mouths, they're going to blow it out of proportion and say that you're a creepy weirdo. Rumors are swirling that Sydney Sweeney has called off her wedding with fiancé Jonathan Davino. Now, this is not an official report, and according to this anonymous source, it's not even that they're breaking up, it's just that they're calling off the wedding for now. But this comes after Sydney Sweeney deleted pictures of the couple kissing on New Year's Eve, and then she posted this video of her looking hot as fuck underwater. So add all that up, and I'll tell you right now that that is a woman who's single, and she just hasn't said it yet. If you're pushing back the wedding and trying to make it work, you ain't deleting photos. And if you're still together, you ain't doing the old casual, "let me look like an OnlyFans mermaid underwater on my Instagram." You ain't doing that post if you're still together. This relationship is cooked, my friends. And you're asking me, they were dunzo back when she did the Glenn Powell movie when they were shooting Anyone But You. Powell and Sweeney were shooting together and they were so extra friendly and extra flirty. And then both actors had real life problems in their real life relationships because the paparazzi and the whole world saw them together all schmoopy. And I think both of them were like, "Listen, we can't break up directly after those rumors because then we'll both look like total assholes. So let's give it some time. We'll ride it out for a little while. Let people think we broke up for other reasons, even though this is like 100% absolutely accurate." Bottom line is, saying this.
It's that time again. Pop up on your screen. It's the 1 minute man. Y'all know what I mean. The boy KFC. We ain't talking about the chicken. A minute go by and the clock be ticking. Hot takes with stakes. Greatest in all the land. Don't blink, you'll miss it. It's the 1 minute man.